The other day, we all woke up to a wonderful gift. That gift being that Donald Trump has been kicked off of the ballot in Maine. I'm pretty happy about that. That is fantastic. It's great to see. Of course, the CHUDS have lost their fucking minds over that, as we all expected them to. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody knew I'm pretty sure that the Secretary of State knew in Maine when she made this decision that it was going to cause controversy and that people were going to lose their minds, and that is exactly what happened. So just to kind of repeat, for those of you who live in the middle of the desert or the woods or something, or live under a rock and you don't really know what's going on, what the fuck happened? Well, last week, Donald Trump got kicked off of the ballot in Colorado. That was from a Supreme Court decision. The Supreme Court of Colorado, by the way, not of the nation. People brought a suit basically saying, according to the 14th Amendment, Donald Trump is guilty of engaging in an insurrection. And according to the 14th Amendment, he should no longer be allowed to hold office. And it wound its way through the courts in Colorado, went all the way to the Supreme Court in Colorado, and the Supreme Court said, yep, he is now not allowed to be on the ballot. Now, when they say the ballot, what they're talking about is the primary ballot. So I'm wondering how this is going to match up when it comes to the actual general election next year. But yeah, I don't know, maybe, is he still going to end up being on the election, in the general, or I don't know. But as of right now, when the primaries roll around in March in Colorado, all things staying the way they are now, Donald Trump is not allowed to be on that ballot. Of course, it's probably most likely 100% going to be overturned by the Supreme Court before then. But, we shall see. So that happened last week. People lost their minds over that. And now this week, the same thing has happened in Maine. There was a hearing that the Secretary of State presided over. And she basically, after she saw all the evidence and heard all the arguments, she decided that, yeah, Donald Trump is guilty of aiding and abetting an insurrection. See, if you actually read the 14th Amendment, it doesn't actually say that you have to be arrested and convicted of participating in an insurrection. There's a clause, the disqualification clause, says that, in fact, you know what? Let's just open it up. Let's open up the 14th Amendment and let's read what it actually says. This is from constitution.congress.gov. 14th Amendment, equal protection and other rights. Section 3, disqualification from holding office. Let's just read it so that there's no ambiguity. There's no room for me to just talk out of my butthole. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector or of president and vice president or hold any office civil or military under the United States or under any state who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. So you notice there, it doesn't say that you have to actually be arrested and convicted of being an insurrectionist in order to not hold office. It doesn't actually say that. It says right here, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. See that? So if he aided the insurrectionists or gave comfort to them in any way, that means he's not allowed to be president again. Kind of like advocating for the January 6th rioters to be released from prison, saying that the January 6th riot insurrection was a setup by the feds, and the whole thing was a hoax. Using his national platform to spread lies about that, trying to get those guys out. Did he actually provide any money for these people, like for their lawyers and shit? No, he didn't, because he's Donald Trump and he's a cheap piece of shit. Of course he didn't fucking do that. But he definitely seems to be advocating for them. Him and people in his orbit are given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. That definitely seems to be something that Donald Trump did. Definitely aided these people and gave comfort to them. Simply just by going around the country and going to his rallies and saying that the whole thing was a hoax and that these people were set up and that the FBI set the whole thing up and all this other shit. Just by doing that, that's aid and comfort. Let alone the fact that he fucking organized the fucking thing. Let's not forget that, okay? Because he did more than just give aid and comfort to the enemy. No. All right. Let's not forget that Donald Trump was behind the insurrection. Okay. He actually did organize the insurrection. He organized that march there. He was there. He brought all those people in. He told his security guards at the rally before the fucking people went and like started the riot and broke into the fucking Capitol and shit. He was actually there at his rally. He told his people not to search people for weapons. That was the thing. The Secret Service were like, hey, you know, we can't let these people in here. You know what he said to the Secret Service? Let them in. They're not here to hurt me. Okay, because the Secret Service said we can't search all of these people for weapons and shit. He said they're not here to hurt me. All right. Well, who were they there to hurt? Okay, I'm not making that shit up. That's an actual fucking quote. Then he says, basically, we're going to march over to the Capitol and we're going to show them strength. You know, and he, in so many words, I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but basically what he said is that some of the Republicans in Congress are too weak to do what's necessary. That's essentially paraphrasing what he said. He said they were too weak. We're going to go over there. We're going to show them strength. What was necessary? What's the thing that he said was necessary, right? Basically, they're too weak to steal the election from me. That's what he's talking about. They were too weak because that's what was going on there. They were certifying the election. And he said, well, these people were too weak. They're going to allow this. They're not going to steal the election. They're not going to stop the certification so that I can remain president. That's what he was fucking saying. So we're going to go over there and we're going to show them strength. Then 2 seconds later, fucking Rudy Giuliani gets on there and is like saying shit like, oh, let's have trial by combat and stuff like that. Donald Trump organized that fucking rally. Okay, Donald Trump busts those people in. All right, he's the one that told them to go over to the fucking Capitol in the fucking first place. Okay, so no, it's not just, oh, he didn't use any violence. He didn't say go break in. Fuck you. Yes, he did. Those people wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for him. He caused this fucking thing. Then, once they all go to the fucking Capitol and people start smashing windows and shit and everything and like beating the shit out of cops and hitting them with fire extinguishers and flagpoles, stuff like that, smashing fucking windows. Once all that stuff starts happening and people are begging him to go on TV and do something about it, what does he do? He doesn't do shit. He sits there for fucking like 5 hours, doesn't do a goddamn thing. What's the quote there? I think what it was is that I think Mike Pence called him and told him to fucking do something. And he said, well, these people are really upset, Mike. Maybe they're a little more upset than you are. That was the message, because fucking Mike Pence wasn't going to steal the election for him. And then let's also not forget that it wasn't just the insurrection. Okay, it wasn't just the mob of fucking people that went there on his say-so, on his orders, to go murder Congress and murder fucking Mike Pence, because that's what they were there for. They were there to kill them, all right? That's what they were trying to do. When that one, what's her name, Ashley Babbitt, when she got shot trying to break open the fucking doors to where Congress was. She was trying to break down with a mob. She was a mob of people. They were trying to break down the fucking doors and go into where Congress was. What were they going to do there? Right? Why were they trying to smash those doors open? Because they were going to kill them. That's what was fucking happening. That's Ashley Babbitt deserved to get shot. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to say it because it's true. Right? She's a traitor. Ashley Babbitt was a traitor. She got shot because she was there to kill Congress people. So no, that's what you do with fucking traitors when they're trying to kill somebody, when they're trying to like murder the elected officials of the United States. That's what fucking happens. F around and find out, folks. Okay? Too fucking bad for her. Maybe if she wasn't there trying to smash a fucking door open and kill people, she wouldn't have got shot and she wouldn't have died. I got zero fucking sympathy for her. Sorry. Absolutely zero fucking sympathy for that. Right? So that's what Donald Trump was actually fucking doing. Let's not forget, okay? Let's not sugarcoat it. And then that was only the first part of the plan, though. Let's also not forget the actual real method by which he was planning to steal the election, which is called the Green Bay Sweep. Why do we know it's called the Green Bay Sweep? Because that's what Peter Navarro went on fucking national TV on MSNBC and told everybody the plan. Let's not forget that happened. Peter Navarro went on TV and told everybody the plan. Why did he do that? Because he knows that nothing's going to fucking happen to him. Because he knows that he's just going to get away with it completely. Because our Congress people are a bunch of fucking pussies who are all bought and sold. And he knows the Republicans ain't going to do shit to stop him. What was the Green Bay Sweep? Well, it was basically the phony baloney elector scheme. You know, the thing that Donald Trump got arrested for and he's going to go to trial for? The fake electors, where they basically went to several different swing states, Arizona, Pennsylvania, New Mexico, and a few others, I believe. And they got people who were not electors, because these states went to Joe Biden. They got people to pretend to be the official electors, and they were going to show up to Congress, and they were going to leave fake votes, phony-ass votes. And they were going to say that they were the real electors when they weren't. And the whole plan was for Mike Pence to say, well, this election is being disputed. And then he would not certify the election. And then Ted Cruz was going to get up in the Senate, and he was going to also obstruct there as well. In order for this plan to work, you need someone in the Senate to actually make proposals and shit. It was going to be Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz was going to get up and say, okay, well, we need to kick it back to the states. And this is what they were going to do. And they were going to kick the election back to the states because this is actually in the Constitution. And basically the plan was that, well, now it goes to the state legislatures in each state. That's what's supposed to happen. When there's an election which is disputed, it's supposed to go to the state legislatures, and they get to decide who the actual president's going to be. And they figured that since more state legislators are controlled by Republicans, then the Republicans would then vote to keep Donald Trump in office. That was the plan. And the thing is that the mob was out there in back, right? The mob was there in order to put the pressure on the fucking Congress people in order to go along with it, and especially Mike Pence. They were there to basically scare the shit out of them, saying, these people are going to kill you if you don't fucking do this. And it probably would have worked too if the fucking mob would have just not have blown their load and didn't like smash open the doors and fucking invade Congress, right? Because, folks, there really is nothing like good old-fashioned video of people beating up cops in order to turn the general public against your cause. If they just would have been outside protesting, Mike Pence may have gone for it. Mike Pence might have said, well, shit. He might have actually done it. That's what kind of destroyed it, right? That's the fact that they tried to murder him and shit. That's what kind of destroyed it. That's why he decided not to go for it, right? So we owe the country to Mike fucking Pence, believe it or not. Kind of crazy, isn't it? Kind of insane to think that. But that's the case right now. We were able to preserve our democracy thanks to fucking Mike Pence, which is frightening. Anyway, Donald Trump, I think, in my opinion, definitely deserves to get his ass kicked off of the fucking ballot for that shit. Because he's a fucking criminal. And the Secretary of State in Maine, I think, made the right decision. A lot of the MAGA people, Republicans and whatnot, have kind of lost their minds over this, of course. like we expect them to, because, whenever Republicans don't get their way, first thing they do is always threaten violence. This is Libs of TikTok. This is Shanna Bellows, the Maine Secretary of State who just removed Trump from the ballot. She said the right of every American to vote freely and fairly is the premise of our democracy by her own standards. She is the real threat to our democracy. As you all know, folks, whenever Libs of TikTok features somebody, that person usually gets a ton of death threats, and that is exactly what's going on with Shanna Bellows. There's already some articles out there. This only happened yesterday. There's already articles out there where people are hounding Shanna Bellows, threatening her family, calling her in the middle of the night, stuff like that. Kind of par for the course for Libs of TikTok. That's why Libs of TikTok posts this stuff, by the way. Because the woman behind Libs of TikTok knows that anybody she targets is going to get harassed and is going to have a very bad day. Of course, she's not the only one. This here is Laura Loomer, who has to get some homophobia going here as well. This is the husband, Laura Loomer. This is the husband of the Secretary of State in Maine who just removed Trump from the ballot. Husband, of course, in quotes. Why are these communist women always married to other women or men who look like lesbians? What's the matter with this guy? What, he's not manly enough for you? I guess because he's playing a card game? I guess, what is he playing, Magic the Gathering or something? Is that what that is? I don't know. I don't really play Magic the Gathering. I have no idea. He doesn't have a fucking beard? Is that what it is? Like, what? So, in order to be a real man, you have to be, 200 pounds overweight with, a massive fucking beard and, flannels and shit, walking around with, an axe and stuff, like Paul Bunyan? Is that what it's got? You have to be a lumberjack or something? She's married to a man, right? So, where does the lesbian part come in? Men who look like lesbians. All right. See, that's what I love it. It's like they can't help but be hateful and bigoted and homophobic. Even when there's nothing gay about this man or, the Secretary of State there, what's her name again? Shanna Bellows. There's nothing gay about them at all. Shanna Bellows is not a lesbian, apparently. She's in a heterosexual relationship with a man, married, and all that stuff. I mean, isn't that what Christians like? Don't Christians like it when men and women get married? I guess no. I guess only if you're Republican, right? I guess if you don't look tough enough or whatever, it's not good enough. You're automatically gay. I mean, I guess if this guy weighed 400 pounds and had a giant fucking neck beard and there was an AK-47 and shit, or no, wait, an AR-15, excuse me, AK-47 is for commies. If there was a fucking AR-15 in the background and stuff, I guess you wouldn't be calling him gay or whatever. It's fucking ridiculous. It's I just like how they can't turn off the hate. They hate just even, it's just automatic with these fucking people. Next we have here End Wokeness. This is the woman who removed Trump from the ballot in Maine, pointing her out here. What's the problem here? What's wrong with her? Why is he posting this picture? She just looks like a normal person. In fact, it looks like she's running a marathon here. I mean, okay, is he trying to say what? She's ugly? I mean, she's a middle-aged woman. People get old. I mean, she doesn't seem to be in super bad shape. If she can run a fucking marathon, she's in better shape than I am. I can't run a fucking marathon, that's for sure. Or is he just posting this woman's picture so that, people will make fun of her? So that they'll go track her down and beat her up or something like that? You notice he doesn't actually say anything like that. It's of course to give himself plausible deniability. Let's scroll down here. Let's see what some of these people have to say in response to End Wokeness. Putin arrests political opponents. No, that's authoritarian. Democrats arrest political opponents. Wow, I love democracy. Yet, the difference is that Donald Trump actually broke the law. Not just once or twice, but a lot. When Putin arrests people, they're lucky. Because usually Putin just kills people. You know, Putin just kills his political opponents. I don't know if you guys know that. Putin routinely murders journalists, kills people who fail him like a supervillain. Like right after the failed invasion of Ukraine didn't go the way he wanted, a bunch of Russian generals just started falling out of windows. That's how they do it. That's what they say. Oh, he accidentally fell out of a window. That happened to like fucking 12 different Russian generals. The guys who basically botched the invasion of Ukraine. They all just died because they failed Putin. Because Putin just murders people. Like he's like a supervillain does. Like Dr. Doom. When you fail Dr. Doom and he blows you away or whatever to make an example out of you. That's fucking Putin. All right. I mean, kind of a big difference between that and Donald Trump, who has 91, 94 different indictments for as many crimes. Let me see if I can name all of the crimes that Donald Trump is guilty of off the top of my head. Let me see. Or not guilty, but has been indicted for, excuse me. Because you have to say allegedly and shit like that. But these are the things that he's been indicted for. Let me see if I can name them off the top of my head. Let's see. The Stormy Daniels thing, you know, where he fucked a porn star and then used an illegal campaign contribution from his lawyer in order to pay her off. That's illegal. That was what he was indicted for. Let's see, the Zelensky thing. I don't think that's what he got impeached for. You know, that's when he took a congressional aid that was supposed to go to Zelensky in Ukraine and withheld that and made it conditional on Zelensky opening an investigation into Joe Biden over Burisma and not actually opening the investigation. Donald Trump didn't care if he actually did the investigating at all. He just wanted them to announce that they were doing an investigation against Joe Biden. Let's not forget that. That's what he was impeached for the first time. And then, of course, we have the insurrection, right? And the phony elector thing. I mean, that's what he was impeached for the second time and actually got indicted for. The phony baloney elector scam, you know, trying to steal the election. Let's not forget that. The perfect phone call in Georgia, he was arrested for that one. That's number 3, I think. That's where he called the Secretary of State in Georgia and basically tried to get him to fucking steal the election for him. You know, get me more votes. I just need this many more votes. I mean, give me a break or whatever. Like, that's against the law. Not allowed to do that. Let's also not forget him just walking home with top secret documents. The document scandal thing, which Donald Trump should be an open and shut case. He had the top secret fucking documents. He wasn't supposed to fucking have them. And then when they asked him to give them back, he like told his lawyers to lie about it and say that they didn't have them and shit like that. Let's not forget about that stuff. That's an open and shut thing. You know, Donald Trump's probably going to get off for that. You understand that? Everybody listening to this at home, if you are, he's probably not going to jail for that because he has the fucking judge in his pocket. You know, what's her name? Judge Eileen Cannon is like basically a sycophant doing everything she can to fuck this trial up so that it results in Donald Trump getting off for that. I hope you guys understand that. Anybody else in this country would be rotting in Guantanamo Bay right now for the shit that Donald Trump did. He's going to get away with it. So just keep that in mind. You know, those are actual crimes. Okay, you know what Putin arrests people for? Running in an election against Putin. All right, that's the fucking difference. So, let's see. Any more of these things? Voting for anyone except Biden is. I like how they just can't even. Oh, my God, just the bigotry gets thrown out. The statement is literally the opposite of democracy. Yeah, you know what's also the opposite of democracy? Trying to steal the election by using phony-ass electors and getting a mob of people to come break into the Capitol and murder your own vice president. That's also the opposite of democracy. Fucking bullshit. Let's move on here. Let's move on. Which one is this one? This one is, let's see. This is Chuck Calestro. Breaking report. Maine Secretary of State Sheena Bellows, who arbitrarily decided Trump should be removed from the ballot in Maine, was not elected by the people. Bellows was elected by the Senate, the state legislature, to serve as SOS, Secretary of State. A woman not elected by the people has just decided a former president will be removed from her state's ballot. First off, that's not what happened. I mean, yeah, okay, she was appointed. The Secretary of State is appointed in every state, I believe. But she just didn't decide to remove him. There was a hearing. That's what happened. There was a hearing. People brought their evidence. She went over the evidence, right? And she decided, based on the evidence, that this is what Donald Trump was guilty of. Donald Trump was guilty of instigating an insurrection in order to basically remain in power. Because that's what he did. He's guilty, folks. He fucking did it. All right? They have him dead to rights. He fucking did it. That's what she decided. And here's the other thing, you guys. What this dude is not listing here, what he's not saying in his tweet, is that she then put a stay on her own decision and basically said, this needs to be decided by the Supreme Court. So as of right now, if nothing changes, Donald Trump is still on the ballot. For the primary. Remember, this is for the primaries, right? He's still on the ballot right now, pending its Supreme Court decision. She did that herself. She even acknowledged in her decision, this is unprecedented. It's never happened anywhere else. And we need to have a decision from the Supreme Court. She even said that. This guy here, Chuck Callisto, is losing his fucking mind over shit that isn't true. Let's see. Opening up another one. Kind of par for the course for conservatives, wouldn't you say? Okay, let's see. This is Owen Schroyer. Trump removed from the ballots in Maine, not so fast. This is only 37 seconds. Let's listen to what Owen Schroyer has to say.
Well, it's December 28th, and this...
That is kind of the fakest laugh of all time right there, wasn't it? That was the most contrived, phony, baloney-ass laugh ever. Anyway.
Secretary of State of Maine has just made a bold decision. In response to the Colorado Secretary of State saying Trump will be on the ballot, crushing their dreams of removing Trump from the ballot, she decided to come out and say, no, Trump won't be on the ballot in Maine. I'm going to guarantee something right now. Mark my words. Donald Trump will be on the ballot in Maine. Cry harder, liberals.
Cry harder, liberals. See, here's the thing. It's like there's one thing these people all share in common is they just have zero ability to examine the situation here. This guy doesn't care about the evidence. He doesn't care about what Donald Trump actually may be guilty of. He doesn't even think about any of that at all. I highly doubt that this dude has ever even read an article online, like a news article. I doubt that he's watched a video from an actual reputable, like, real news organization. You know, this guy probably gets all of his news from fucking Facebook and Twitter. And, like, if there's anything, it's probably, like, from shit like fucking, you know, like Steven Crowder, that kind of thing. That's probably where this guy gets his news from, right? I highly doubt that he even knows half of the fucking shit that Donald Trump has been indicted for. Or has probably never even heard of the Green Bay sweep. Probably doesn't even know what any of that shit is. Probably never heard it because the media that he and millions of people like him consume doesn't report that stuff. So it's sort of like, to them, they just think that this just came arbitrarily out of nowhere. Oh, just some random Secretary of State decided Donald Trump can't be on the ballot. How about you look into why that decision was made? Right? Look into the reasons why. Like, why do you think? Why? Because what? because he's a danger to the establishment. No, think about what the actual accusation is. What did he fucking do? What did he get arrested for? What actually happened on January 6th? That's the one thing that all of these tweets and all of these videos and everybody losing their minds and all the Republicans crying like babies and shitting their fucking diapers in rage. It's the one thing that they don't fucking do is they don't ever, ever, ever examine the fucking evidence. Ever. The same way they don't examine the evidence over COVID and vaccines and if masks work or if global climate change is fucking real or none of that stuff. They don't give a fuck about any of this stuff. Just like this guy right here, this fucking like smiling dude with his stupid fucking beard. God damn, this beard looks stupid. Anyway, stupid fucking dumbass looking beard is sitting here smiling over, cry harder libs, right? Cry harder liberals. That's what he said. Because that's the only thing that matters to this guy and millions of people like him. All of these dipshits with their red fucking hats on. That's all they care about. Right? Is pissing off the liberals. They don't care about the truth. They don't care about what actually happened. They don't care about what's right or what's wrong. They care about quote unquote winning. And winning to them is pissing off people that they don't like. You know something? I bet you this guy is gay. I'm just looking at him right here. I mean, look, why is he wearing this shirt with this like locket? he's got a locket on. Like, what kind of fucking jewelry is that? This dude is totally gay. I'm sorry, my gaydar is just going off like crazy. All right. Plus, I don't know. Just this beard with the locket and like the no shirt on is just really kind of like screaming out to me like, I'm in the closet, please somebody love me vibes right here. And what is it with the beards? What is it with these morons and their beards? Like, I'm sorry, facial hair don't impress me, man. I could grow a beard like this guy when I was 13 years old. I could grow a beard like this. I'm not even joking. I could grow like a huge ass like ZZ Top beard and it would be a like super fucking like thick and huge. I could grow like a fucking like massive like, ancient fucking Jewish king's beard. You know what I'm saying? Something huge with giant curls in it. Like, I could do that no problem. Facial hair doesn't impress me. You know why I don't do that? Because it looks stupid. Because facial hair is stupid. It's dumb. It's like greasy and gross. And you get like fucking ingrown hairs and shit all over it. And you're like eating and like fucking cereal gets in your mustache and it's all nasty. Like, no, it's a pain in the ass to take care of. And it's fucking nasty as fucking eating spaghetti and you get spaghetti fucking sauce in your beard and you don't know it's there. It's gross. Okay, I used to actually have a fucking goatee and shit. It's like, no more, right? Anyway, long story short, your fucking stupid ass beard does not impress me, dude. Right, read a book. Let's see, another tweet. This is from Captain Christopher Maga. And we're looking at here Vivek Ramaswamy. Let's see. President Trump has been removed from Maine's ballot. Vivek explains he will remove himself on the ballot of any state that removes a Republican candidate. Okay, well, let's listen to this. See what Vivek Ramaswamy has to say about this.
States. In 2020, secretaries of states, one individual, would come in and wipe away the laws of the legislature and say, because of COVID, I'm changing mail-in balloting. One person changing election rules. That was 2020. 2024, one person saying, I am disenfranchising Trump voters.
Yeah, before we move on here, she is, of course, lying. That's not a thing that happened, all right? A Secretary of State doesn't have that kind of power. Okay, in order to change election laws? No, Secretary of States don't have that kind of power. You know who does have that kind of power? The governor. The governor gets to do that. But no, mail-in voting in the states that did it, there was never a Secretary of State. No, that were either laws that were passed or laws that already existed or were enabled by the state legislatures. Okay. And maybe the Secretary of State has a little bit to do with that, because they do get to decide how election laws are going to be enforced. But a Secretary of State can't just change a law. They can't just be like, okay, you know what? This law is gone now. We're not enforcing that, or we're just going to make up this whole new policy that has no basis. No, Secretary of State is not allowed to do that. This woman is fucking lying her ass off. Moving on.
Your thoughts?
Well, look, Kayleigh, I think you phrased it well, but I would say that this is not an action of one person. This is the action of an entire system that has an anaphylactic reaction to one man.
He's right about that. It is the actions of an entire system, i.e. the court system, right? Who are having a reaction to one man who broke the law. He is right about that there. I mean, and yeah, nobody's really trying to say is that, it's a reaction to keep Trump off because they hate Trump, blah, 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 blah. Well, that's bullshit. I mean, maybe if Donald Trump didn't break the fucking law, he wouldn't keep getting kicked off of the ballot in different states. Of course, they're not going to address that point. Moving on.
And I think they're dropping the breadcrumbs. They're making it clearer by the day. I'm concerned that they will not allow this man to get anywhere near the start line of the election, let alone the finish line. And I say this as somebody who's running in the same race as Donald.
I really hope so. I really hope that other states starts a chain reaction and a bunch of states start kicking his ass off the ballot. I really hope that happens. It doesn't look like it's going to. California just said they're not gonna do it. Michigan looks like they're not going to keep him on. So there's lots of different states are trying to basically kick him off the ballot. And unlike what all of the Republicans are saying, most of these efforts are being led by Republicans. In Colorado, the people who brought the suit that eventually resulted in Donald Trump getting kicked off of the ballot there were Republicans. It wasn't like Joe Biden's fucking election campaign or something that brought these suits. No, they are other Republicans who are sick and tired of fucking corruption and don't want this fat Cheeto dusted sphincter mouthed asshole within 50 feet of the fucking Oval Office because he's a goddamn disaster. And it's good for them, Kind of goes to show, folks, it's not the political parties that are the problem. It's the people. It's the ideology. It's not... I mean, there are such things as liberal and even, dare I say it, semi-progressive Republicans. There are at least Republicans who believe in the actual, country and the rule of law and stuff. There are at least those. It's not so much that, so it's not the political party. It's the people within them. It's the ideology of each individual member. Somebody like Vivek Ramaswamy, who is just a snake in the grass, who will say and do anything he can in order to fucking take power. The thing is, this guy's lying. He's lying right at us right now. He knows that he's fucking lying. Vivek Ramaswamy is not stupid. He's not an idiot. The same way that somebody like, say, Ben Shapiro is, or Charlie Kirk, or Steven Crowder. Those people are goddamn morons. Vivek Ramaswamy is not. Vivek Ramaswamy is very intelligent person. He knows exactly what he's saying, and he knows that it's not true. And he's saying it anyway, because he's trying to manipulate the Republican base in order to grab some of this power for himself. Being a billionaire and shit, I guess that's just not good enough. He wants to have political power too. The guy is scum. But there's only about a minute left. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Trump, this is not how we should want to win. So I stand by the pledge I made earlier on the back of the Colorado decision, and I reiterate it today, that I will voluntarily, as a Republican candidate, remove myself from any GOP primary ballot where one of my competitors, Donald Trump included, is forcibly removed through this unconstitutional maneuver. And I think one thing that the other Republican...
First off, it's not unconstitutional. It is in the Constitution, right? It is literally in the Constitution. In the 14th Amendment, so it's not unconstitutional. Number two, good. I hope that glad that, why? Because I'm glad that Vivek Ramaswamy is going to remove himself from the ballot in these states. because he has no business being fucking president either. Vivek Ramaswamy is a slimy piece of shit, and who also should not be president. So good, fuck him. I'm glad, yeah, stop running. Because here's what I think is going to happen, folks. I think even though the Supreme Court, this is what could happen. I don't think this is going to happen, but this is what could happen. If enough states start kicking Trump off of the fucking ballot, then maybe the Republican establishment will decide, hey, we can't rely on this guy in order to win for us if we can't even make sure he's going to be on half of the fucking ballots, right? Now, of course, the Supreme Court is going to come in and they're going to swoop in and save the day, because they will. And they're going to rule in some way in order to allow him on the ballot. And it's going to be bullshit. And there's, all the analysts and stuff are going to be saying, like, this is the worst decision ever and it makes no fucking legal sense. Because it won't. It won't. It'll just make no sense at all. But we already know the Supreme Court's going to do this. Just the fact that there's this kind of controversy could lead the Republican establishment into trying to throw their institutional backing behind somebody else, like Nikki Haley or whatever, or Ron DeSantis or something. That's what could happen. And I hope it fucking does. I hope it does, because we really cannot allow Donald Trump to become president again. Got a few more of these guys here. Let's see, where are we at? This is another really wacky one. This is from somebody named The Gift of Gab. What a clown. She's working on Soros and Obama instructions. Lock her up. I like how this guy's grammar, I mean, these people, I guess part of being a super fucking Sigma alpha male, anti-woke based fucking guy or whatever, in order to do that, you have to have a very shitty command of the English fucking language. She's working on Soros and Obama instructions. I mean, I don't think he could have worded that any fucking worse. How about she's working on instructions from Soros and Obama? How about, just spell check it first, right? Spell check it before you put it on fucking Twitter. Secondly, I like how George Soros, it took one day for George Soros to be involved in the conspiracy. Isn't that great? Isn't it awesome how conspiracy theories just evolve like that? How any kind of act that shows up in the news, anything that happens in the news, automatically gets rolled into the greater conspiracy theory narrative. What the fuck does this Secretary of State have to do with George Soros at all? What does George Soros have to do with any of this shit? Nothing. Absolutely. What does Obama have to do with it? Obama is not been president for, 6 years at this point? 8 years? How long has it been? Since Obama, 7 years? Since Obama left office? Do they think that he's like the puppet master hanging out in the basement fucking bunker of the White House and shit, pulling the strings? Do they think that Joe Biden is an android and really Obama sort of is remotely piloting him and stuff, using an app on his phone, and Obama's the real president? Is that what they fucking think? George Soros is 99 years old. What is he, immortal? Is he a fucking vampire now? Just his burning liberal hatred for all things conservative and white just driving him on, keeping him from fucking dying. Is that what they think? Do they think that he's immortal, he's drinking the blood of Christian children or something in order to stay alive so that he can make gay marriage legal or something? What the fuck? It's just the more you think about it, the sillier it gets. I guess the eggs don't fall so far from the tree, or whatever that expression is. What's that expression? They have to continuously come back to conspiracy theories. It just automatically gets rolled into the narrative there. Everything becomes a fucking conspiracy. Everything becomes George Soros' fault. It's pathetic. Okay, we're going to see some really crazy shit here. This is from Gab. Gonna love this one. This is from a guy named Rob on Gab. Sheena Bellows, unelected Democrat operative, just by her opinion, she banned Trump from ballot. Okay. Platinum Planned Parenthood member, meaning multiple abortions, anonymous source. Maine must stand up to tyranny. You did not elect her. The evil Maine must stand against tyranny. Okay. First off, it's barely coherent what this guy wrote here, but let's take a look. Platinum Planned Parenthood member, meaning multiple abortions, anonymous source. I.e., he just made that shit up. Right? It's not good enough that she's just a Democrat and that she's the unelected Secretary of State. I mean, I'm pretty sure that every Secretary of State is unelected. Right? Do you elect them in some states? I don't think you do in any state. I love how they're just figuring out this now. I'm pretty sure that none of these people had any idea who a Secretary of State even fucking was before this happened. But where did this shit come from? She's had multiple abortions. I mean, first off, that's 100% bullshit. Platinum Planned Parenthood member? I mean, so wait. So I guess does that mean that she donates to Planned Parenthood? So in order to donate to Planned Parenthood, you have to go get abortions? Is that what I'm supposed to... Is this what I'm being told here? Is this what I'm expected to believe? Is that in order to donate... In order for Planned Parenthood to take my money, like, I have to be a woman and I have to have multiple abortions? Are you fucking serious? Does anybody actually believe this shit? The scary thing is, yes, they do. And I like how it says just anonymous source. Anonymous source. Yeah, okay. Anonymous source meaning some fucking idiot on 4chan just made that shit up. You know, this is how you can tell that these people are just completely intellectually bankrupt. It's like you have to embellish shit with these ridiculous lies and conspiracy theories. I mean, I guess the truth just isn't fucking enough to get them angry, huh? They have to, like, blame it on the Jews or whatever, you know? That's what George Soros is, by the way. Whenever you hear somebody talk about George Soros and all that, it's basically they're saying blaming it on Jews. And why did I say bringing it up Jews here? Because this is also on Gab. Someone felt the need to show that Sheena Bellows used to run the state's Holocaust Center. I mean, is this true? Yeah, maybe. Sheena Bellows, who blocked Trump's Maine's primary ballot, used to run the state's Holocaust Center. In her decision, Maine's woman, blah, blah, blah. Secretary of State echoed her own words about her work at the Holocaust Center that she is primarily concerned with protecting democracy. Why does that matter? You would say. Like, why would somebody write an article about this? That she used to run the state's Holocaust Center. If that's even true. I mean, chances are, now I'm not going to bother looking it up, but there is just, you know, from my own intuition, I think there's a very big chance that this story is bullshit. Right? That it's complete bullshit. But even if it's true that she worked at a Holocaust Center, which I assume is a center that spreads awareness about the Holocaust, why would that be relevant to her decision to kick Trump off the ballot because he's a fucking criminal and a traitor? What would that have to do with it? It has nothing to do with it. It has absolutely fucking nothing at all. Zero to do with it. The only way you would think it's even close to being relevant is if you're an anti-Semite or a fucking Nazi. That's what it is. That's why they brought it up, because they want to say that, see, she's Jewish. And that's why they brought up, you know, that's why that other person put George Soros, just made up some shit about George Soros and threw his name in there because he's Jewish. Because it's, once again, it's just being rolled into the big anti-Semitic fucking conspiracy theory mythology. Right? Because it's not really the Democrats who are kicking Trump off the ballot. It's the Jews. Why are the Jews kicking Trump off the ballot? Why are they doing that? Because they hate white people? Is that what it is? Because they want to destroy America? Right? They want to destroy our way of life? Is that what it is? Ever imagine believing this shit? You know, how pathetic and a sorry, pathetic existence that must be, thinking that there's boogeymen and monsters under every rock, and that everything you see on the news is caused by, is part of some giant plan by untouchable, like an untouchable cabal of criminal masterminds who may or may not be from another planet and may or may not be Satan worshiping. Like, you know what I mean? Like, imagine just everything, and it just living like that and believing these things and thinking that just everything out there is out to get you, and that it's all rigged and it's all conspiracy and nothing you do matters, and just the fear and like sadness and just dejected, fucking depressing, soul crushing banality that implies. I really think that has a lot to do with the conservative mindset. I really do think a lot of these people act the way they do and vote the way they do and believe the things they do, because that really is the center of it all. The fact that their lives are so fucking terrible that they'll believe anything to shift that responsibility away from themselves. These are people that will cut social spending in order to lower taxes and say things like, oh, you need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and you need to be an individual. You have to take care of yourself and your own family, and you can't rely on anybody, and you have to be independent and all that other shit. And they'll vote that way too, and they'll strip out social spending, and they'll get rid of welfare. They'll pass laws like in certain towns in Texas where it's illegal to feed homeless people. Stuff like that, right? Zero fucking help. They'll say all of this shit, but at the same time, they'll do everything in their fucking power to blame their problems on somebody else. Whether those are Jewish people, whether they're, Muslims, or gay people, or trans people, or illegal immigrants from south of the border stealing their jobs. That's the reason why I can't get a job. Somebody came and stole it, not the fact that I'm a fucking loser. That's the reason why I can't get laid. All the incels and shit blaming everybody else for the fact that women don't like them. Oh, I can't get laid because of feminism. I can't get laid because of fucking this or that. There's not enough traditional wives, whatever. All this other shit. And it's not because I'm a fucking loser. It's not because, women don't like me because I'm a fucking bigot and a loser and a racist. Right? And I'm out of shape and I have a giant stupid fucking beard or whatever. Right? And I don't fucking and I have nose hairs and shit coming out. Like, no, it has nothing to do with that stuff. It's feminism that's cock blocking me. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's sad and pathetic. Makes me really cry for our country. As a result of these sad and pathetic people, we're barreling towards a brick wall in so many fucking ways it's not even funny. Hello folks, if you like what I do and you want to support the channel, please consider buying something from my Etsy shop, supporting me on Patreon, liking and subscribing, and checking me out across my social media links listed below. Thank you all so much, and see you next time.